There is a tiredness that doesn't come from sleep. It sits behind the eyes, in the chest, a quiet heaviness that shows up even on calm mornings. You wake up and nothing is wrong, and yet something already feels used. It's not sadness, not exactly. More like a sense that the day has already taken something from you before it even began. You notice it when people speak too loudly, when small moments carry more weight than they should, when laughter feels distant, like it belongs to another room. There's a feeling of being ahead of time, not wiser, just ahead, as if you arrived early to a place you didn't plan to be. And now you're waiting, unsure what for. Others talk about being young, about energy, about wanting more. You listen, you nod. But there's a part of you that doesn't quite join in, not because you can't, because something in you has already passed through those rooms and didn't stay long. But that's not the part most people notice. What they see is composure, stillness, a calm that looks mature. They comment on how grounded you seem, how thoughtful, how you always know what to say. They don't see what it costs. There's a distance you carry, a slight step back from things, not avoidance, just caution, like someone who's learned that closeness has weight. You feel time differently. Moments linger, words echo, silences stretch. Sometimes a conversation ends and it stays with you for hours, sometimes days. Not because it was important, because it was felt. There's something quieter happening underneath all of this, something that doesn't have language yet. It moves slowly, like an old clock in a quiet room. You notice it most when you're alone, when there's nothing to perform, nothing to hold together, just the soft hum of awareness. There's a sense of having lived more than the calendar suggests. Not in years, in layers. It shows up in the way you pause before responding, in how quickly you read a room, in how easily you notice shifts in tone. And still, you don't feel old in the way people mean it. Your body may not ache. Your face may still look young. Your life may still be forming. Yet there's a gravity inside, a seriousness that arrived early, uninvited. That's where it starts to change. Because this isn't about age. Not really. It's about accumulation. But most people assume this feeling comes from hardship, from trauma, from responsibility taken too soon. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. There's another layer that rarely gets named. It's the way you stay present when others drift. The way you remain when emotions get uncomfortable, the way you don't look away. You've always noticed more than you wanted to. Expressions, pauses, what isn't being said. As a child, you sensed tension before words appeared. You adjusted, you softened. You learned when to speak and when not to. Not consciously, it just happened. And each time you did, something settled deeper inside you, like sediment. Layer by layer. But that's not the part most people notice. They see someone who feels steady, who seems unbothered, who carries themselves with restraint. They don't feel the constant inner monitoring, the quiet scanning, the emotional listening that never really shuts off. There's a fatigue that comes from paying attention all the time, from holding space without asking to, from absorbing moods like weather. You don't remember choosing it. You only remember that it's always been there. And over time, it creates a strange effect, an inner age, separate from the body, separate from the life stage. You begin to feel older than your peers, not because you've done more, because you felt more. But even that isn't the whole truth. There's something even quieter underneath. It's the way you learned early that feelings don't disappear when ignored. They linger, they deepen, they shape. So you stayed with them, yours and other people's. You learned how to sit in emotional rooms others rushed through. You noticed the details, the cracks, the unspoken agreements, and slowly, without realizing it, your inner world grew dense, rich, heavy. This is the point where clarity usually arrives, but not yet, because before that, there's a misunderstanding that needs to fall away. Feeling older isn't about being tired of life. It isn't about being cynical. It isn't about giving up on joy. It's about depth without pacing, about being given access to emotional layers before there was language for them. Most people grow into that awareness gradually. You didn't. You lived there early. You adapted. You learned how to exist in it. And when you do that long enough, time feels different, shorter, thicker, more meaningful. Here's the realization that tends to arrive quietly, usually later, usually alone. The feeling of being older comes from emotional responsibility, not years. From being the one who notices, the one who understands, the one who carries unspoken weight. Not because you were asked to, because you could. And once you can, it's hard to unsee. Hard to return to lightness without awareness. This is where the word empath finally fits. Not as an identity, but as a description of capacity, a nervous system that stays open, a perception that goes deeper than surface signals, an ability to feel what moves beneath behavior. That ability matures you, not in wisdom, in burden. It makes you careful, measured. It makes you pause before reacting. It makes you age internally, while life around you moves at a different speed. That's why you sometimes feel out of place. Too deep for casual spaces, too quiet for noise, too aware for distraction. But that doesn't mean something is wrong. It means your inner clock was calibrated differently. You learned early that emotions have consequences, that words linger, that energy transfers. And so you became selective, not distant. Selective, that selectiveness can look like seriousness, like maturity, like age. But underneath it is sensitivity, still intact, still present, just protected. This awareness doesn't fix anything. It doesn't change the feeling overnight. It doesn't make you suddenly lighter, but it does something else. It reframes the weight. It names it without judging it. You didn't become older because life hardened you. You became older because you stayed open longer than most. You felt things fully, repeatedly, without armor. And that kind of openness leaves a mark, not visible, but lasting. As time goes on, the feeling shifts, not away, just into something quieter. You stop comparing your inner age to others. You stop wondering why you don't relate the same way. You recognize the cost and the depth. There's a calm that comes from that recognition, not relief, not resolution, just understanding. You don't need to explain it to anyone. Most wouldn't hear it anyway. You simply carry it differently now, with less confusion, with a little more space around it. The tiredness doesn't vanish, but it softens because it's no longer fighting to be understood. And in that quiet acceptance, something subtle happens. The weight remains, but it rests. Instead of pulling you forward or back, time still feels strange, still dense, still intimate. But it no longer feels like a mistake, just a different way of moving through the world, slower, deeper, earlier. And that's enough.